Hey guys, girls. It's been some 2 3 days since I did any of my shows. I'm just still doing my own makeup. I'm making myself up for a show. So that's the idea. See, the key is you should be able to understand what people should be understanding. See, that is a key. If that's not the case, no matter what you try, no matter how you try, it is not going to work. And I am a writer, and I write. That's what basically, fundamentally, I do. I didn't get the third word. Now, coming to what this is going to be, this I'm not going to read a long poem or anything like that. I've been writing many things with an understanding that I am going to have a full poem by the end of the week. Last week, that was last Friday, but nothing happened. Nothing. And I've gone through many different catastrophes. Wrote like 8 or 9 pages after that. Coming here, what happened to my understanding about what people should understand from what I am trying to make them understand? You see, this is a lot of understanding, understand, overstand. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on now. The lot of things can happen in people's life. My own life. When it started, when we start a day, that day start with almost one person wakes up, goes through a routines of actions you do in the morning because you have lived your life like that. Like you wake up, you brush your teeth, okay, all of them. Then you get into another routine. You take a shower, eat your breakfast, you then go out and get dressed, press your dress, things like that. It's a routine. Why I said all these things which you already know is I would like to put together an active idea about something called I am writing called the girlfriend. And what is the idea behind this is okay, a person goes through this routine and there is a girlfriend with him all this time. And the girlfriend is categorically his life's an extension of his life. So that is the understanding he have, that the girlfriend who this area is echoing. Oh, this thing is the one that's echoing. There's a light there. I'm going to show. It's just like wondering. You see, look at that light. I think that when the voice goes in there, it kind of echoes. It's nice that I was able to show you guys, with this. So, when that's the understanding. Okay, so that this extension is going to be there, but then suddenly there's a point at which the reality strikes. But what if the person who is dealing with this is not ready to accept that reality, that the extension does not exist? Do you understand where I'm going with this? It is like a present that is based on a past trying to go into the future, but without rewinding the time and doing something to fix the past, there is no way into the future. This is going to be a most complicated thing you might have ever heard in your life. Yes, that's the beauty of life. The dynamic side of life is okay. Time is something that is measured when 2 points, when you go from this point to this point, that's when time really means. Even though the space between those 2 points, is completely intermingled with this time. And whatever that is within that space are going to become hurdles. See, that's when things are going to get complicated because in that space there are a lot of things sitting in here. So when you want to go from this point To this point, oh, I need to be within the frame. But then there is a big issue. It may look like very easy. It may look as if that you can even bend and play with the time, but there is only one major problem. It's just one major problem, which is there are a lot of things in between. If it is all blank, then it is easy for you to bend it or shove it or swing it or hang on to it. You can do everything. In the same way, when you talk to a in a matter of relationship, a person's understanding of that relationship is that the person whom he likes, the person whom he loves, becomes an extension of his own personality. And there is that understanding that everything that person expresses is understood in the exact same way you understand what you mean by it. So that's when that's not there, the extension comes to a break. This is where this is the core idea of that poem that comes in. Even though the core idea as is, I don't really explain or I don't really express. It may be something which people can understand or may understand. If they understand this and they gather the whole idea around that poem and say, oh yeah, yeah, this guy is trying to make that person an extension of his life, and it's just not happening. And then when he comes back to the reality where he understands, okay, the extension does not exist, that but the girlfriend actually exists. There is no doubt about it. The real person exists, but the personality he want there, it does not exist at all. It was just his, it's something manipulated thought that in his mind. So that is the key of understanding. So now you understand the misunderstanding part of it. When I say understanding and misunderstanding, there is an understanding, but that understanding of that extension of the personality becomes the serious misunderstanding and comes back and hits you. It's simple as that. Now, going back to tonight I'm not reading a poem. Going back to what all things have been written, I'm going to read some part of it. You know, um, here is this last time I told I this is here this is what I'm actually going through it. It's like a plenty of pages. uh, the time fell face down as the space between us grew larger and larger. Maybe it is perfect for us to find. Then there is a period, which I didn't even put the period in here. I just stopped writing at that point for some reason, as to find. Maybe it is perfect for us to find what, I don't know. I just left it there. Okay, that is one of the issues I have. I may start doing something, then I kind of figure out, okay, yeah, I'm not going anywhere with it. I just drop it there. Another way, like Rachel was actually showing this, she did this absolutely amazingly well during her show. Now I am supposed to do this. When I do this, this is it is it, this is actually uh, a clear idea about what Rachel was trying to show. Rachel also said, she actually wrote an idea about a story, and that story is going to go in, say, right or left or up or down, or it's just going to be sitting there. There are times when you come and write something and just drop it at that point. This is one of the idea, one of the things. Here is the next part is this is much more interesting. Okay, it goes into another. You see, when I actually move from one page to another, that is good. Even I myself say, oh yeah, 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 I'm getting there. I'm getting to a lot larger item. Right now. So here is the way it goes. The darkness of life found ways through through many hallways of mind. Yeah, because my own handwriting is kind of cumbersome right now. Okay, the darkness of life found ways through many hallways of mind. Holding your hands, I tread through the halls, and without many good views of your loving heart, I said, I love her in all her mystery, and I love her with all her flaws. I love her in all the good I have known. I love her beyond all that I have known. Then, through the lightless ways I walked to be where I want to go. This is the interesting that I put a gap there because you will understand where exactly I went. This is another point I left things there. And the next one I haven't even read it, earlier. This is another thing. The story the broken heart told. Oh, I wish I have known him before. But busy were the days in which I met the broken hearted man who inspired. None in his prime days inspired. None in his prime days and done nothing to gain the love of any. Through musical notes, he searched for words and phrases that meant something to him, but none else understood what fascinated him into life worth living. None understood. He leads no one and asks none to follow him. What can only be started but cannot be ended, consumed him beyond all that he is and all that he wanted to be. You are all you wanted to be, but I lost you beyond all that I am. I think this kind of pretty much gives you an idea about the process. Okay. I can see the chat coming with it because this is same like what Rachel showed because you write about when I say that I write about maybe to write one poem. There are times when I write like 10, 20 pages, up and down. People don't get it. I have some pain here. Oh yeah. Um, People don't really get it. They 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 feel bad. I mean, that I am lying to them. That I write a lot to actually get to a point to get one line. Sometimes it's just one line or maybe a quartet. I may get out of 30 pages of writing. And what is the reason why I go through this struggle? It is a very fascinating when you go through. When I sit here and write these kind of things, even if I don't really go back to it at that time, it is really really fascinating. You're draining all the bad things, all the weird things that are getting stuck to your mind. So it's like a brain drain exercise, through which you go through. Um, one person once told me he's a guitarist. I met him in on Block TV. When he actually plays music, and he said he actually goes through different chords and different scales. That's what he said. A scale for each chord. He actually takes that and he plays it. So there are times when he gets stuck, where he don't know where to actually proceed from one point to another. Because the reason is most of the time he actually takes the words. He writes down. It's like a small poetry like thing. He writes down the words. Then he goes through that words, word by word by word. Then he comes back and see, okay, how he is going to bring a tune where these words are going to get fit. So he need to go through two things, the rhythm of the the actual poem or actual lyrics. Then he need to come back to his music where he need to show justification to his own music. So what he does is, okay, he goes through like the scales, one by one. So he said initially he was not knowing how to play a particular scale of a specific note. Then he went and learned about this. It helped him because even though he probably may not even use that particular note or chord in his piece of music, he still plays those chords and then comes back to it. Then when he plays like 5 times, 6 times, maybe sometimes he say, I used to just go through these scales for maybe a day or two or three, to get to that point where he figures out, oh, okay, I may have to change my lyrics a little even though it doesn't lose the meaning, I may have to modify that lyrics in such a way that this whole thing fits perfectly. Then he rewrites the lyrics. That comes back to it. So a musician goes through that process. In the same way, any poet or any artist goes through that process of, you go through it once and then you go through it again, then you go through it again. This is a process where there's a lot of things are eliminated. This is that process of elimination. And that's what I'm coming down to. Now, when I say you have an understanding about what I said right now, this is a process of elimination, of eliminating out. Some of these things I go back. This is where the poetry box get created. Now there is a different. I told you in another show how I do things. I throw these pages into a box. Now I don't have a box. I just throw it in there. Uh, or type it into my computer and just leave it there. Then I go back to it and take some of those words, some of those lines, fit in, and where I can make a poem out of it. And that works too. That's very nice. It helps me a lot. So some of the ideas which I thought, okay, in this particular time, I'm coming out with that idea, and then it comes really well. And these lines, at times, help me a lot. This and there is another thing I want to tell. You know what? Why the reason why last Friday I didn't come with any poem, even though I thought I may. Uh, I don't know. Ooh, my computer just blinked. uh, it just went the monitor. Um, the last time what the reason is, first of all, I was going through a different situation. Thursday, I had a friend who came here, um, who was going through some serious issues personally. So I'm not a real nice person to deal with those kind of issues. So then on Saturday, I need to go to Chicago. So here's a simple way of, this is something which you should understand. You see, when you write about a relationship, most of the time you try to connect that to something personal. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. If you are going to connect fictitiously, it is, at least for me, it's pretty hard. So this is another reason why, because I know I'm going to Chicago. So when I'm going to Chicago on the way, here's the thing. One of my friend is going to get dropped, and he wanted to come to Chicago, but he came to a very near place here, stopped, and waited for me, even though I'm supposed to meet him in another place. So in near north side of Chicago, this is where things started becoming nervous. Okay, so um, and a job offer came to me from a company in Chicago. And the job offer is like not like they are going to hire me. This was a preliminary interview in which I was told the job is in Evanston. And I was like, I was like, wait a minute. Even though that person didn't really see, the interviewer was on the phone. I was like, ooh, there is a danger here. And the danger, I think some people understand the danger here. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And it's been a while, so I got to get back to my real job instead of just playing around with poetry and all the other things. That is something which some people don't appreciate. Some people don't want to hide the fact that I'm not working right now. So this time I have to tell the truth. So here comes there are three issues at on the same time. Because I got to go to Chicago because one of my very close friend who's like a little brother for me, he's leaving. He is going through another situation. There is another friend here in Glendale going through a situation, and I personally have this job thing coming up. So even though I really wish if there is a way that job thing just falls apart. Imagine the confusion. So, the, I wish that actually it did not happen because for personal reason, because personal reason, I don't want to be there in that place. Um, then when I was in Chicago, I was talking to my friends. We went to a club, Benchmark. It was a very nice night. We came back. My friend was missing in action. Yeah, those two guys were badly drunk. Then the next day he came around, and we understood where he was. It was I don't want to disclose those things. Uh, then we were sitting there. Some people, another guy joined us, and they were asking me about my personal situations with romance, marriage. Everything came into onto the table, and I unfortunately needed to you know be at the defensive. And then I defended myself, but I still stayed in the truth. I told them this is the reason. I may have to go and make a major compromise in dealing with that. Then the confusion got another dimension. I said, "Then why did I even wish for that job not to happen?" And Monday morning, job did not happen. I got the notification that you are not selected for the final four. So I said, okay, food in one way. But on the other ways, I was like, really? The company said I don't have enough stuff in my resume. I was like, woo. I have 22 years of experience in IT, and that didn't really sell well with me. Even though I got pissed off on one side, I was relieved on most of the part. So those things came into action, and at that time, I changed something. I started writing a screenplay. If you have read a story which I have written called Legend of the Peacock Feather, then make it plural, Legend of the Peacock Feathers. There are things going to be added, and then I made a twisty ending, which I told Rachel. I really appreciate your suggestion. Even though Rachel, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to really miss you because you are leaving all these things, and you want to focus on your career and everything. That's one of the things which she announced earlier. I'm really sorry to see you go. I sincerely apologize for any mischiefs I have said and done. I know we are good friends, but you are right. You need to be focusing on your stuff more than in these kind of stupid shows. This is pretty much nothing. Nobody comes to you stream in my show, and I'm just blabbering here in this hangout. uh, Maybe sometimes when you get time, stop by and see how things are. I added you in my Facebook. Just drop by and say hi. If you get time. But it was an honor and pleasure meeting you. So, and the honor is seriously mine because I have never seen such a prolific show host than you. Never seen. Many people say I keep on blabbering blah 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 blah, but you are one person who stays on on specifically on track. Kept these shows on track. The fantastic side of this is you can do something like a brain drain almost every day if you do it regularly, and even though you don't have anything to talk about, that actually makes it give you an ideas about what you should write and what you should not write. Uh, I have learned a lot from you, as a writer, and your opinion about that storyline, and that was incredible, and I will adapt it into the storyline. Yes, I have started writing a screenplay. I thought of doing it for a long time, the longest of the time. I wanted to do it. Then I have taken classes, I have taken online classes, I have talked to people who professionally write screenplays. I've been doing everything else other than writing. So eventually, that's what I thought. Okay, what exactly I can do other than all these things, like job situation, and there is a there is a there is a that's another Rachel. She's one of my recruiter. She was looking for jobs for me, and she's the one who actually organizes all these things. She's like a little sister for me. She's a fantastic person. Then another thing that came up was these all these my friends. Here is one thing I can, if they any one of them says, you see, when you party, you go out on a weekend and do party out with your friends. Sometimes I go out on a party where I say, okay, I don't want any of my friends. I just want to be, just want to go out by myself, sit in a place where I don't know anybody. See, I want to really detach from all that connects to me. So I go to different towns, different places, or a completely new bar, and sit there where everything is exploding, literally. I mean, people are blasting out music and dancing and all those things. I just sit there, you know, at the bar. Everybody's drinking alcohol. I would say, give me a Coca Cola with no ice. Do you understand where I go with this? Because you see, that is something which we should all do. But if you are going to do that every day, there is a problem with monotony. That is not good. So some people enjoy that party mood. When you go into a party, you have that hyper mood that comes in. Enjoy that, and then they wanted to keep that at them. You know what it means? You are getting addicted to some of the substances you are using during the party, which is like most of the time it is alcohol, and then there is sex that get involved. Then when these two don't add up, you go into drugs. I never used alcohol, okay? I never used any drugs because I don't need to. I am I am a person who just can connect to people without all these, who just can get into that hyper mood without any of these things. I'm not saying I do that all the time now. I'm 45 years old. There's a time for all that, and then you move on to the next phase of your life. However, even there are times when I go with this my friends, we party like hell, and then we come back and so I can unplug, come back to my normal things, get things done, one by one, step by step. I know a process through which I need to go through to get something done. So that's what I do. But there are people who just falls. And I know I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming the victim here. They are victims of their own actions. So how do you correct that? I mean, sometimes they may have to, unplug and go to some other place. They may have to do things differently. Whatever they are doing right now, do it all completely opposite and different and everything. Good luck with that. I mean, that's what I would say. You have to figure out. There is one thing I learned from all that. Before I end this thing, one thing I learned from all that is it is easy for you to uh, chase a storm, and please chase the storm all the time, or let the storm chase you, but never be in the storm because that is pretty bad. That's where I'm ending today because that's what I saw with many people. Many. It's not one person, it's not two people, it is not a group. I have seen hundreds of people, even celebrities, going through this same scenario of hyper partying, and then the problem is, then they are in the storm. What I always do is I chase the storm or I let the storm chase me, but I tactically keep out of the storm. And for that, you need to be in a very conscious mood. That's the reason why I don't drink alcohol. May God smile upon you all always. Bye bye.